Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the long-awaited Mythic Legions Poxxus Wave, Poxxus, and Flogeus, whatever you want to call me is. Either way, for those of you unaware, this is brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios, and man oh man have I been waiting to get my hands on these figures. We're going to be taking a look at the whole wave. I got an all-in for this wave, so we're going to be taking a look at the whole wave throughout the entirety of the coming week. This coming week, the following week, whatever you want to call it, week. Either way, as is tradition, with any big, grandiose Mythic Legions wave, we're going to kick things off with the member of the Dark Four, prominent within it. And that, my friends, is good old Poxxus here. Or in my figure's case, poor old Poxxus here. I'll get into that in a moment. Let's just say I made a bit of an oopsie, and I'm going to have to send an email at some point. But we'll get into that in just a moment. So, without further ado, let's cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at Poxxus's, you know what I mean, accessories. Kicking things off with the extra hands he comes with, and there's quite a few. He's got two types of grip hands. He's got one set with the appropriate hinge, which I am very much a fan of. And then he's got one set with the inappropriate hinge, which I don't plan to use, but it's nice that they included them anyways. Sometimes you can use that, most of the time I don't, but that's up to you. That said, we do get a pair of arrow drawing hands, because, you know, the rotting god of pestilence is versatile. He can draw a bow with either hand. So that is pretty cool. That's all you get for hands. 3 extra sets, is it? Pretty solid spread there. That said, you do get a couple of arrows, of course. You get one that's pretty, you know, tame. It's got a fly on there. Pretty straightforward. And then you get this big mamma jamma arrow with a bunch of flies on it. And surprisingly enough, you were able to catch a glimpse of the URL before playing this video. I was able to pose him with this quite easily. It takes a little finesse. I will say, right out the gate, this is probably one of the finickiest Mythic Legions figures I've reviewed. But I was able to pose him with this, and it looked pretty decent. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I'm no member of the ACBA community or anything, but I know how to pose a figure once in a while. That said, what would arrows be without a bow? He, of course, comes with not just one of those. This one here is pretty straightforward looking. Nothing too crazy. But Poxxus don't roll like that all the time. He's got to have a crazy bow. And yes, there is a hand on there. I do realize that. And the reason for that is, I don't want to break the thing taking it off. I'm probably going to have to apply some heat to pop that off, but, you know. I'm not going to break my toy, so, again. That said, the last thing he comes with that's not on his person, you could probably see his quiver of arrows on his side there, with a belt that was not included. It's very weird. Usually they include a belt with every figure, but this guy doesn't have one. At least not one that quiver can fit on. But Poxxus does come with the wings we saw with the Sphexians from Cosmic Legions. Very nice pieces. They are a little bit on the fragile side, fragile. But if you're careful, you can get them on no problem. I have no problems popping mine in, but I will tell you, heat up the back adapter piece this guy comes with before you do that, and it'll make your life a heck of a lot easier. That said, I'm not sure if I'm going to use those. I don't use the wings with Aether. I'm kind of hoping they make the Malifar bat wings in his color scheme, so I can give him smaller wings. And much like my Aerithyr, I would like to do something different for Poxxus. I'd like to see how the Sphexian arms fit in the back. I believe they're the same peg, but I'm not sure how it'll look aesthetically. If I can get that to work, if I can get an extra pair of those anyways, I will most likely display my Poxxus that way. Alithia's fine. Her back adapter doesn't, take up too much space. I mean, she does have 6 arms, but you can fold them up. You have a little bit more control there. These wings that Poxxus comes with, you can't articulate them at all. You can't fold them up any more than they already are, and you can't really pivot them in a way so they're flat against the side of the horse. So he does take up quite a bit of space, on top of already having a lot going on. That said, before we look at the man himself, if I can grab him, wow, my hand is dysfunctional today. Set him aside for right now. We're going to take a quick look at Flogeus. That's what I'm going to call him, which I believe is Greek for flu, if I'm not mistaken. Eric Treadway mentioned it on the G-Con stream that this wave was revealed on, so you can probably backtrack and find that, but 4 Horsemen O'Clock is a weekly show, so you're going to have to dig for that. But either way, Flogeus here, it's the standard horse parts. Some new stuff has been added to make him look sickly and decayed. Especially right here, you can see he's got some, I don't know what you want to call those, cysts, like Lemmy Kilmeister from Motorhead on his face. He's got a very kind of wet-looking mane that's just kind of drooped over his neck there. He's got a cracked hoof. I thought that was pretty cool. He's got some other warts and things, and zits and cysts and pimples and boils and just nastiness sticking off him in various places. I think he could have looked a little bit more decayed, but he does have the plastic kind of armor skirt pieces going over top of him there, so I can see why they didn't go all out with the gross rotting sculpt, but I would have liked to have seen that in case we get like a zombie horse later down the line. I'm sure they will add parts if they decide to do that, but it would have been nice to see him here. That said, I will tell you, the way this guy's hindquarters is assembled, where the tail plugs into this piece and this piece plugs into the back of the saddle, it is super secure and really helps with the stability of the saddle. I really like that. The saddle doesn't rotate around a lot. It's very stable. When I go to sit Poxxus on it, he doesn't weeble wobble and fall down, unlike Weeble Wobbles who weeble and wobble and don't fall down. It's very nice. I really, really like the way he's constructed there. This piece in the front, I wish sat like pegged in a little better, but it is what it is. It is just the neck piece. Worst case scenario, you can probably tilt the head down, and that will help lock it in, or tilt it up even. And that kind of helps lock it in place, but for the most part, the saddle and all the accoutrements that are a part of it stay in place. I'm not going to go over articulation because it's the same as all the horses we've already had, so moving on from him, let's have a look at the man himself, Poxxus. And one thing you're going to notice about mine is his left arm looks a little funky. And that is because I found out a day after I messed with this guy from my good buddy Patrick Boyle from the Mythic Legions Cabal. Cabal above all, and all that jazz. This guy has 2.0 lower arms. That would have been nice to know before I tried to pop the gauntlet off. So, it wasn't really me being impatient. I just thought it was a 1.0 gauntlet, and 1.0 gauntlets do not break. This guy did not have those, so, that said, that freaking blows. You know, I waited 2 years to get this figure, and his freaking arm broke. So I had to jury rig an arm for him, a temporary one, out of some skeleton parts, some 1.0 skeleton parts, because this is the closest thing I had to anything that matched the arm he had previously. So, you know, I'm well aware that customer service, good old Diego, will come through for me in this instance, but, you know, they're still in the process of shipping these, I imagine, by the time this is posted. If not, they're just about wrapping up, and maybe, just maybe, my arm is on the way. I really am not counting on that, but at the end of the day, I did wait 2 years for this really awesome looking figure, and to have it break is a bit of a bummer, you know? And, you know, partially my fault. I could have done some research, but there was no reviews of this guy. I got him relatively early compared to, well, most people, especially if they ordered the brute scales and not an all-in and live within the US. So, you know, Dorklayer, Toy Bro, you know, Jeremy, Gerard, other people who review these. I am not. So if you want to see a breakdown of the parts, I would recommend checking out those guys. But if you want to hear someone's thoughts on some really cool looking stuff, this is the place to be. That said, I don't think it looks too bad. I mean, he does have kind of a Popeye thing going on there because it is bigger than it should be. But, you know, what are you going to do? I have to work with what you have. So, other than that, and the fact that mine's waist is a little loose, this is a really cool figure. This thing is crazy. He's got this cool looking halo back here, which looks like some kind of weird cultist chalk circle, if I had to guess. He's got the crazy like bug antenna crown thing going on, but they're like growing out of his head. That's pretty wild. He's got standard like 1.0 armored legs. So like the hips, the thighs, the lower legs, and the feet are all standard 1.0 parts. The gauntlets appear to be new, but that's probably because they have the 2.0 peg hole in there. I think his waist piece is new, maybe. The belt, I do believe, is new. The shoulder pauldrons are definitely new. I think his torso is new. And this little kind of scarf piece, collar piece, is new. It's soft goods with a wire in it. I'm not sure why it has a wire in it. I don't think it's really necessary. I did have to clip the wire in a couple points because it was jabbing me a bit. So, you know, don't break your toys, but don't let the toys break or injure you. There are the peg holes on the back for the wings. I'm not going to plug them in until final thoughts, just because they take up a lot of space. The back adapter is unique to him. Kind of looks like he's got a bug, like thorax or something growing out of his back there. That's pretty gnarly. And then he's got the little dagger in the sheath there. Pull it out. Put it back in, no problem. It is a little finicky. There you go. That said, that thing was a pain in the arse to get in there, so if you're wondering why that's attached, that's why. But that's pretty much Poxxus. He's got some wired soft goods down here. They are tattered, so, you know, if you pull on this, it's going to fray. It's supposed to be frayed, so leave it alone. But as far as articulation goes, since it's been a hot minute since I reviewed a Mythic Legions of any kind, he's got the ball joint in the head, so you can look up and down as much as his business up here allows. He's got a swivel as well. You're mostly getting that out of the neck. He's got the same neck as Jacob Marley, by the way, so that's cool. Nice to see that again. The pauldrons, of course, hinge up and get out of the way, so you can lift up the arms, which are very, very tight in the shoulder. So again, I would advise don't lift them from the lower arm, lift them from the bicep area. You can get them up no problem. They'll go up past 90. These are the Mask of the Red Death upper arms, so they work very, very well. He does have the Mask of the Red Death style elbows, so he can get past 90 with those. That's impressive. He does get the rotation. He's got the rotation in the gauntlet as well. Again, these are 2.0 gauntlets, so if you're going to pop these apart, use some boiling water or a hairdryer before cranking on it, or you're going to your figure, and that's no fun. He does have hinged swivel wrists. He's got these creepy looking zombie hands on him in the package. I believe these are new to him. I don't think these were used with Jacob Marley or Red Death. I could be wrong. But I think these arms, like 100%, aside from the color, of course, are what we're going to see with the Undead Builder Pack in Necronominus. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I can swap those parts without messing stuff up. Hopefully. But time will tell. That said, he does have the ball joint in the waist. Again, the peg itself on mine is a little loose, so I might have to get that replaced as well. But I'm mostly concerned about the arm because just look at that. It looks ridiculous. I will tell you, this actually does get the same range as the skinny arm because of the way they cut the top of the inside of the elbow there. It's not the hinge itself, it's the top of the elbow. So that's interesting to note. As far as the legs go, it's your standard Mythic Legion's hips. They do swivel forward and back. They kick out as far as all this business will allow. They kick back down. He's got the thigh cut. He's got the single knee. Gets you a decent amount. I would have liked to have seen those Valiant Knight parts on this guy, but obviously that was tooled later. He does have a boot swivel, quote-unquote boot swivel below the knee, and then he does have the ball hinge ankles that you can rotate, hinge up and down, and then of course he's got the rocker with the peg holes at the bottom of the feet. You are to put him on a stand and not his mighty steed. I, myself, will be putting him on his steed at some point. I'm going to probably leave him off until I get his arm fixed or replaced, whatever. So, unfortunately, my Poxxus will just be hanging out for now. But that said, he'll be easy to get to for comparisons, right? Speaking of which, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look-see at some comparisons for good old Poxxus here, or poor old Poxxus, depending on how you look at it. And just a bit of a disclaimer, I was debating on pulling out Aether and Alithia for this video, but I think I'm going to wait until Necronominus shows up, and we'll do a comparison of all the Dark Four together, because that is going to be a very monumental point in time, whatever you want to call it. Somewhere in time, if you're an Iron Maiden fan, to have all of the Dark Four together. So, to kind of build up some hype for that monumentous occasion, we're going to pull out a couple other figures for size comparisons here. But I think you'll find it quite amusing what I have in store. So, with that being said, let's cut right to the chase and take a look at those size comparisons, shall we? Let's. First up, and mostly because I thought it'd be kind of funny, here is good old Poxxus alongside the two skeleton figures I had to cannibalize to give Poxxus a temporary left arm. We have Ilgar utilizing the Jacob Marley skeleton head on the left, and Tibius on the right. And is it still taboo to show what came in the Jacob Marley safe at this point? I mean, it's freaking February, dude. Doesn't everyone have this figure by now? I hope so, because if somebody complains that I'm spoiling the surprise at this point, get over it, please. I don't understand why it has to be kept a secret for so long. Like, open your figure, open that safe up, and enjoy the cool piece. That said, I think it looks pretty good on Ilgar there. That said, what does not look good is the fact that it looks like Ilgar and Tibius lost arms in battle. So once this review is over, I'm going to be giving them their limbs back. So, sorry, Poxxus, but it's only temporary, right? Getting them out of here. Sending them off to the side. This, of course, would not be one of my reviews without bringing in Brother Mandibulus from the Advent of Decay, which is honestly where you would think a character like Poxxus would hail from, but no. Then, of course, the infamous 11 Spawn, who's not towering over everyone today because Poxxus has this crazy bug crown hat thing going on, and that gives him a little bit of an edge. So, with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and if we ignore the fact that I'm going to have to get poor old Poxxus's, either way, you know what I mean, left arm replaced at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, there is no doubt in my mind that this is by far one of the most intricate, well-detailed, and impressive looking characters that the fine folks over at Four Horsemen have produced as a part of the life of the Mythic Legions line. Compared to Arethyr, this guy has a lot going on, and I would argue is even a little bit more ornate than that of Ilithia, who, granted, did have the back adapter with the extra arms and the crazy headdress and stuff going on, but this guy, he just feels like a completely different animal, and atop his mighty infected steed looks absolutely incredible. I really like this figure. However, it is a pain right in the ass to get him assembled. I'm not going to deny that. I had a little trouble myself, and I usually try my best, quote-unquote best, to take my time with these more ornate characters, these more busy, we'll say, characters, to make sure I have everything set up right, so nothing falls off, nothing breaks, and, you know, sometimes I go and break the frickin' arm. So, that does suck. I'm not going to deny that, but hopefully customer service will come through. They've come through before. I'm sure they will come through once more. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and stay tuned. We're going to be taking a look at the entirety of the Poxxus wave throughout the course of the following week, so I hope you're ready for that. I know I sure am. It's been a 2-year wait after all. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.